Have you ever had a urine test come back showing sugar in your urine? Most people immediately panic and think, I have diabetes. This is it. I'm going to have to take an insulin shot. But the truth is, sugar in your urine, which is also known as glycosuria, is actually a symptom. Say it with me. Sugar in my urine is a symptom, not a disease. Today, I'm going to explain what glycosuria is, what causes it, the foods that actually make it worse, and some evidence informed herbs that may support healthy blood sugar and your kidney function. So let's get into it. What exactly is glycosuria? You've probably never heard of this word. Maybe you've heard it from your doctor, and maybe you've heard the term diabetes mellitus. Normally, your kidneys act like tiny filters. So every day, they filter about 180 liters of fluid through millions of tiny units, which are called nephrons. So as blood passes through these filters, glucose enters the kidneys, but under healthy conditions, almost all of that glucose is reabsorbed back into your bloodstream. And this is in the case that you have healthy kidneys, right? Stay with me. So your urine should contain little to no glucose. So let's talk about when glucose starts spilling into your urine. This usually means one of two things, okay? Either there's too much glucose in your bloodstream for your kidneys to keep up with, or the kidneys themselves aren't exactly reabsorbing the glucose properly. So moving along to what actually causes glycosuria, aka sweet urine. Cause number one is high blood sugar. Now, this is the most common cause, and I'm pretty sure you know somebody that has high blood sugar. If it's not you, you know somebody with high blood sugar. So when the blood sugar rises above approximately 180 milligrams, the kidneys can no longer reabsorb all that glucose. So what happens? The excess glucose will spill into your urine. This usually occurs in prediabetes type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes. So the higher the blood sugar stays, the more glucose can appear in your urine. So I want to talk about kidney disorders. Sometimes blood sugar is completely normal. Instead, the kidneys transport proteins aren't functioning correctly. What does this mean? So some examples are going to include inherited renal glycosuria, certain kidney tubule disorders, and some forms of chronic kidney disease. In these situations, glucose leaks into the urine even when blood sugar isn't elevated. Now here is cause number 3, certain medications. So some diabetes medications are actually designed to cause glycosuria. If you didn't know, now you know. Moving along, a class of medicines called SGL2 inhibitors intentionally block glucose reabsorption in the kidneys so excess sugar leaves through the urine. Here are some examples of what I mean. Jardiance, Farxiga, and Invokana. For people taking these medications, glucose in the urine is accepted. I mean, if you choose to accept it. Disclaimer, I am not a medical practitioner. I'm an herbalist, and I would never tell you to skip out on your doctor's advice, information, medication, and all that good stuff. I'm just teaching you what I know so you can grow. Moving along. So some people are not going to feel anything, while others may experience things like frequent urination. I know some of y'all have had this issue. I've had this issue before. Do that mean I had diabetes? Moving along. Increased thirst. Dehydrated all the time. You know you don't intake enough water. Fatigue. Blurry vision. Increased hunger. Recurrent urinary tract infections. Ladies or gentlemen. Yeast infections. And unexplained weight loss can happen when your blood sugar remains very high. So let's talk about some foods that actually make this worse. It's not one single food, and hear me out, listen, it's not one single food that can cause glycosuria. What do I mean by that? So what the issue is regularly eating foods that cause large blood sugar spikes. Some of these foods will include things like your sugary drinks. So a 20-ounce soda could contain around 60 to 65 grams of sugar. Let that sink in. Sweet tea. I know y'all love the sweet tea because I love sweet tea too. Moving along. Energy drinks. Fruit punch. Fruit punch is another one. You have your sweetened coffee drinks. Who cares that coffee beans come from the earth? Blah, 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 blah. When you add all of that liquid sugar and it enters into your bloodstream, it happens incredibly fast. Too fast. Your kidneys cannot keep up and regulate all of that sugar that you're consuming every morning through your cup of coffee. Candy and desserts, your cookies, your cakes, your ice cream, your candy bars. Once again, this is not just one individual thing that I'm pinpointing. This is an overconsumption of many desserts which contain 30 to 70 grams of added sugar per serving. So I'm not talking about your fruits that naturally produce sugar. I'm talking about added sugar, which has been chemically isolated, but that's for another video in another day. Refined carbohydrates. I know my people that love to eat their chicken and rice think that that rice is so healthy, but I'm here to tell you it's not. Your white breads, your pastries, your sweet breakfast cereal has a lot of sugar in it, and you should not be giving that to your children, in my opinion. These digest quickly into your glucose. So if you consume these in large portions, these are not healthy for you. Consuming them on a daily basis will cause your blood sugar to spike. And here are some healthy foods that can also raise blood sugar if eaten in very large quantities. Some examples of these, which we all love, are white potatoes. But in moderation. Your rice. We all love the rice. Your pasta. The fruit juices, once again, the dried fruits. So the goal here isn't necessarily to eliminate every carbohydrate, but you need to balance your portions along with fibers, proteins, and healthy fats. So now we're moving along to my favorite part of the segment. As you guys know, I am a clinical herbalist student, and I'm also a certified herbalist as of 2 years now. So here are some herbs that I want to touch on that may support healthy blood sugar. And I want to be very clear, herbs are not replacements for your prescribed medications. You should always discuss herbal supplements with your healthcare provider, especially if you take diabetes medication, because herbs do have side effects, and sometimes combining them with your medication may lower blood sugar too much. So that's just a disclaimer that I have to give. The first herb I want to touch on is cinnamon. So some properties of cinnamon in relation to your blood sugar, they may improve your insulin sensitivity. This is because cinnamon contains phenols with antioxidant activity. A typical amount of cinnamon that you want to consume daily is about 1 to 6 grams. Look into culinary cinnamon because it has been studied and proven to help sugar in the urine. The next herb I want to cover is fenugreek seeds. I have so many fenugreek seeds. So fenugreek seeds are rich in soluble fiber, which means they may slow down carbohydrate absorption. They also may improve your insulin response. So how much of fenugreek seeds should you actually consume? 5 to 25 grams daily of seeds have been used in studies and proven to help with your blood sugar. The next herb is Genema sylvester. This herb is often called the sugar destroyer. This herb reduces that sweet taste perception. It also may support your insulin function. This is because it contains a substance called genic acid. So a typical way to consume this is standardized extracts, which commonly provide 200 to 400 milligrams daily. This next herb is bitter melon. Bitter melon has compounds that have insulin-like activity, which means it may support glucose metabolism, and the typical doses vary depending on your preparation method. Moving on to the next herb, and this is one of my favorites, which is nettle leaf. Nettle leaf is an amazing herb that contains flavonoids, minerals, and antioxidant compounds. So nettle may help to support healthy inflammatory balances and your overall metabolic health. It is often prepared as a tea or taken as a capsule. So let's talk about some foods that support stabilizing your blood sugar. Instead of focusing only on what to avoid, let's talk about what to include. So you want to choose meals that are rich in your leafy greens, beans and lentils, your nuts, your seeds, high fiber vegetables, and healthy fats like avocado. These foods slow down digestion and help to reduce rapid blood sugar spikes. So remember, glycosuria isn't a disease. It's your body's way of telling you something deserves a closer look. Sometimes it's elevated blood sugar, sometimes it's kidney issues, and sometimes it's simply a medication doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Whether you choose to stay on that medication is between you and your doctor. So, understanding why glucose is showing up in your urine is your first step to protecting your kidneys and your long term health. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me for the next episode of Kidney Diaries, where we break down complex kidney health into simple, practical information anyone can understand. Thanks for watching. See you next time.